The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Wildlife conservation usually doesn't get much attention in cities like Fall River, but it is a topic that will be the focus at the next Wolfson Series speaker presentation at Bristol Community College. And the college has invited one of the leading authorities to share his insights. Jeff Corwin is an Emmy Award winner and has been promoting how we can all take care of our worldwide ecosystem for 30 years, primarily as the host and producer of television series on broadcast and cable television. Join me in welcoming Jeff Corwin with us today. Jeff, thank you for joining me.
My pleasure.
So, a lot of people, who see you right now saying, hey, I know Jeff. I've seen him on TV many times. But a lot of people may not know that you're a Massachusetts native. Tell us about that.
I do. I'm home right now. I'm watching the tide come in. I'm not too far from Fall River or River, depending on how you want to say it. I went to Bridgewater State, and I went to UMass Amherst, and I love New England. I've lived here my whole life, and so I live in a little island off of the South Shore. And there's only three things I hate about New England, and they're January, February, and March. Other than that, I love New England.
So let me just ask you, what was your interest in conservation? I know you took, courses at Bridgewater and UMass. Did this area play a role at all in terms of your interest in conservation, like marine wildlife and the like?
Well, I always had a fascination for nature, and ever since I was a little kid, I've been involved with conservation and wildlife and adventure and the great outdoors. I first got to explore rainforests when I was 16, and that clicked the light bulb on for me for tropics and conservation. I worked in wildlife rehab. I worked one of the original founders of the New England Wildlife Center back in 1983 or 84 when I was in early parts of high school. So I've always had my hand in that cookie jar, and I still have a great connection to nature. I am still equally passionate about being outside, adventure, exploration, wildlife, as I was when I was a little kid. It's a little different now, but and I love where I live. People don't realize Massachusetts, we are so blessed with incredible nature. We have diverse habitat. We have mountains, we have snow, coastal habitats, estuaries. We have amazing forests. We have great conservation success stories, and a lot of people don't think of that that it's a great outdoor state, New England, Massachusetts.
Let me ask you, how did all of that work in the early years translate to you getting on television?
When I was at Bridgewater and I finished up at Bridgewater, I'd created an NGO that focused on rainforests and kind of grew up in that rainforest movement, and was one of the founders of that movement way back in the day. I got featured in a documentary in 1994, I think, and it was a project presented and created by Dr. Bob Ballard, who discovered the Titanic. It's called the Jason Project, and I just loved that experience. I pivoted, and I turned the dial of where I was heading to where I wanted to go. I realized I didn't want to do long-term research, that I didn't have the fortitude for focusing in on one sort of scientific thing, albeit very important, and make that my, life's motivation. That I was a naturalist. I was a generalist, but I was a good storyteller, and I loved telling stories and engaging the public, and went through that experience. I was like, man, I could do this, and I got a lot of comments of like, wow, you're really good on camera or this and that. And that's when I began that journey. It was very, very hard. It took years before anyone took it seriously. And your skin starts to get thicker and more calloused as you start facing the tons of rejection. You still face it in this business, and the people that don't survive in this business are the ones that can't handle the rejection. The people that survive and prosper can handle the rejection, although they're hurt by it, and believe in themselves even when other people don't believe in them. Um, and that's kind of how I was able to create my very first TV series, which was back in like 1996 or 97, which was the Disney series.
Yeah.
So that's almost 30 years now that I've been doing this. But it was that moment where I was like, man, I could do this and I want to do this. And I figured there was a space, a wheelhouse for me that no one had was occupying in American television. And I was like, I could create something different. It just took 4 years before anyone took it serious.
And obviously, the opportunity has taken you literally around the world. Let me just ask you in general, in the 30 years that you've been working in this field, and experiencing what you've experienced, as a society, have we done a better job of protecting our natural resources as a whole?
No, unfortunately, I always want to say yes, but unfortunately, the truth is no. We are at a really desperate state with nature. I think we have glimmers of redemption of things we've done, and we have shown um, the opportunity is there, and we have restored species on the brink, and our rivers and for example New England are much cleaner than they were. Like if you went to a river in Fall River or a stream, it's much cleaner today than it was 100 years ago. By the way, all those regulations that clean that river are on the chopping block and will likely not survive the current administration, if you want to be honest. But yes, there are moments, there are glimmers and reflections of where we rose to the occasion. But overall, globally, we are at a very terrifying, disastrous place where we are seeing levels of extinction only rivaled by when we lost dinosaurs 60 something million years ago. So climate change, habitat loss. I mean, I just was literally going over an environmental plan for an up and coming project, and I've been asked to dial down these polarizing words today like climate change and things like that because people are afraid of getting heat from leadership in our country today. But no, we're not at a better place.
Well, that must be difficult for you as well, right? In terms of that dialing back, right? I mean, you've been promoting that we need to do more, and then when there's some pushback, it sort of goes against your ethical thought process, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not difficult. I have, one of the things when you get to be our age and you've been through the thick and the thin and you've been through the meat grinder, you get to this point where you really don't friggin' care anymore. It's like if I can survive my teenage children to see them become adulthood and if I can survive all the things in life, I get to this point, I don't care really what people think anymore. I mean, I do to a certain level, but not to the point where I won't stick with my ethics of what I believe in. And political whims come and go, but the decisions we make today with how we manage resources will last forever. So I don't find it difficult to stand up. Sometimes you get bruised, but for me, my my style is not to be polarizing. My style, I'm not one who's extreme in my views. I'm actually really a generalist. I'm a moderate. Um, I am, when I'm not working in conservation, when I'm not doing documentary, I'm a commercial fisherman in the summer. So I commercial fish the whole. I mean, today I've been actually working on my boat, getting ready for the season, which I can't wait. So I totally embrace resource use and our connection to nature and our dependence on nature. But at the same time, we do have this opportunity where we can incorporate sustainability, wise, practical, long-term management to ensure that the resources that have allowed us and have elevated us as a society will be there for the next generation. But I'm not, I have no problems expressing my views on conservation, but I try to find a way to share those views in a manner that brings people into a conversation. I have no interest in repelling someone or driving someone away. I want to have everyone has something important to say, and I want them to be a part of the bigger conversation. It doesn't mean they're always going to be right, and it doesn't mean I won't learn something.
I mean, in light of what all you've said, what are the opportunities for all of us, even in cities and urban areas like Fall River or Gateway City or Boston urban areas, to do their own role in playing a part in helping on these conservation efforts?
I'm very thankful to live in Massachusetts because we do have really good management of our resources. We have incredible outdoor recreation opportunities. And, you know, people often think of other places. When they think of New England, they think of history, they think of banking, they think of universities. They don't realize that we are incredibly blessed with natural treasures that are there for us to explore, to protect, to covet and share, but also to use and sustainably manage. And I think the best thing you can do is take a young person and expose them to nature and get them outside. Fall River that whole area has such beauty to it, amazing nature. And again, while globally we face many challenges, while in New England we certainly have lots of challenges, we have a lot of bright spots here in New England and on the South Shore and your backyard where you guys are.
Jeff, tell us about your latest television projects.
So I have actually two dueling series. I have a series on ABC, and that's called Wildlife Nation, Expedition Florida, and our partners are the Miccosukee Tribe of Indians of Florida. We tell the story of the great challenge to save wild Florida. And then I have this really fun series on CBS, which people seem to really enjoy. It's called Extraordinary World. Our partner for that is the Brady Hunter Foundation. And every episode, it's sort of this uplift journey where we look at everyday folks like ourselves ordinary people doing extraordinary things to make our planet a better place. And it's about youth empowerment and working with young people. It's about nature and wildlife. It's about helping animals that need rescuing and animals in need, like abandoned dogs and cats and shelter animals. And it's also about the human interest stories about people that find themselves in tough situations that need that second chance.
Finally, Jeff, let me just ask you, what's next? Are there any locations that you haven't been that you'd like to explore? Any other stories that have yet to be told that you'd like to personally be involved with?
Sure. There's so many stories. What I love, I've been very, very lucky in my career. I think I've been to Alaska probably 150, 200 times. I've had a chance to work in over 100 countries. Been to Africa many, many times, Australia, New Zealand. I love to revisit these places and revisit those stories and see how they've changed, how I've changed and how I interact with those stories. So it's not so much as something new to explore, but it's re-examination of incredible journeys. And I'm also really excited. What I love about the Florida series and what I love about Extraordinary World is we spend a lot of time talking about backyard stories. We did this. One of my favorite stories from last season was a story we did in New York City about how the New York Parks and Recreation rediscovered what they thought was an extinct tiny little salamander. When they found this salamander, they created this whole preserve in this urban neighborhood in Washington Heights. And that little tiny salamander became the catalyst that created this incredible recreation area for people that don't have a lot of access to nature. I love stories like that. It doesn't always have to be about a cheetah or an anaconda. Something as tiny as a salamander can show people in a wonderful light, ensuring that our wild wonders are there for the next generation. So it's not so much about new things. It's about looking at where I am at today and reflecting. There are species I have filmed in my career that are now extinct, which is quite, you think of extinction, you think of dusty dodo birds in a museum, but there are things today that I filmed in high definition that are no longer with us because of poor decisions that humankind has made. But yeah, I enjoy telling the stories. I feel fortunate that still have a great pathway to do these stories, and getting ready to head back to Florida next week. And my daughter's graduating from Temple University, so she's a filmmaker and a documentarian, and and makes these amazing films. I'm so proud of her. She just had this amazing festival, and then I go right back to the Everglades, doing some amazing stories in and habitat restoration.
Well, Jeff Corwin, thank you for your time, and thank you for coming to Fall River. We do appreciate it. The long drive, I know.
I don't have to get in an airplane. I'm so excited. I can't wait.